Good afternoon. It is March 15th, 2023. And today, I mean, really was just a range day because we were in this range from before market open until about 11 a.m. And then we had uh, basically two legs up, but those two legs pretty much broke into this range up here. So a lot of sideways stuff today. Um, You can see I have my overnight highs and lows in pink, uh, but then this yellow range was what I was playing most of the day, just based on this move, which was from a news item. So, I mean, the bias was down today, and you can see actually, I didn't even realize this, but almost all of the trades I marked were down. We had a really good setup to go long, but everything else to the long side was just not really good. We'll see if maybe I see something on the way on the as we look through it again. But you can see we're just going sideways here. I'd probably start the channel from right there, and yeah, probably off of that close. That makes sense. And so yeah, in the overnight you get that big sell off, and then we get some sideways stuff before getting a move down to a new low. Because you can see we got a slight overshoot here. That's probably what led to the break, and just this sideways stuff. And then this is too close to the news item at 5:30, so I don't think you can take anything in here. Um, this whole move was from the news item, so I don't think you want to trade. And we broke below here and made this new low, and we just started going sideways. And I just drew the range based on this move, uh, and that turned out to be the midline. So that's how I played it. You do get a second entry right here, but you're going into all that resistance, and that really just looks like one. It kind of just looks like one leg um, down. So I'm not crazy about it. Turns out to be an uptrend. You get a second entry right here off the trend line, but that's your signal bar, so you can't take that. And then technically this is a second entry, and it would have gotten you a scalp, but it's far away from the EMA, and you can see we didn't come up to that trend channel, so you got to sit that one out. Move to a new high, and we correct a little bit, but we're really just going sideways. We break out above this yellow range highs, make a double top, and you get a second entry long. Well, actually, this is the second entry. So, I mean, we correct, but prices, I was looking at this as an important price level, and you just got to be careful here. So people who went short here probably got 4 ticks, but nothing more. 99.25. Yeah. Then we come up here and you get a second entry short. So you might take that to ride it back to, like, if you're thinking this is a range, and ride it back to the opening price, maybe you might take that. But then you also get a first entry failed second entry long. Perhaps you take that. Then I would be more confident of this trend channel, at least because you see the midline has gotten a couple touches at this point. But if you don't take that, maybe look at this as a double top, first entry failed second entry long. So, and they're all off of this price level. So then we get the break and move to a new low. I don't think you want to take the lower high. Move to a new low, then we go sideways, and you do get a second entry short, but after the break in new low, and you're going straight into the midline of the yellow range, that's very aggressive. And this looks like a range. So I don't think you want to take that. And then it reverses and you get a break and a move to a new high, and then you get this lower high. And I really like that, but the problem is you have to be very confident in this trend channel, because if you draw it off of this bar, it works, and you see that price is holding there. And then if you draw it like that, you don't get a new high yet. So, and you didn't even get a break yet. But I looked at this move here. It just looks like a leg up. It looks like a channel, I mean, and a break and move to a new high. And we don't get a new high for a very long time. So I believe this is accurate. And we just get some overlap, choppy stuff. I don't see anything in here. This is too choppy. Too much price acceptance is what it looks like to me. And then we get some rejection. But unfortunately, no setups. And I started to look at this as a trend. And you can see it kind of looks like the midline. Like, that's probably a touch. Yeah, that looks like it fits. So you get this second entry short here, but the signal bar is no good, and I wouldn't be confident at that point that this is a trend down. It just looks sideways. But then when we get all that rejection, and perhaps you take, well, I guess that's not a second entry anyway, so you can't really take this lower high. But yeah, it looks like price acceptance anyway. When you get this though, and this is really a failure off of that price level, off of that trend channel, that's what made me confident in the trend channel. So when you get that first entry, second entry, room to the midline, it's off the EMA, you might take that. And it'd probably be like a breakout pullback of like, yeah, you can see that right there. So there's reasons to like that one. And I guess this turns out to be a break right here. So we get a couple legs down to a new low before it reverses, but no setups. Get a break of this move, and you can see one couple legs up to a new high before it reverses. It breaks back in, tests it once, twice, and a third time. So that's like a double test. Perhaps you take that. And it looks like it's at the top of a smaller range. But anyway, we come down here, bounce off the opening price, make one attempt to go higher, and then you get a first entry, failed second entry. Only problem is it closes above the EMA, but I was playing the yellow range, so I like that. I like that. It turns out to be a nice move down. You get a break. First entry, second entry, we still haven't made a new low from this channel. Unfortunately, there isn't room to the lows, so like you're being aggressive there. But I mean, we're due. The bias is down, and we're due to test this midline. So that's pretty much where we go. And then we get confirmation of this channel here. So really, you could argue for this one to be, I'm going to mark that green. You could probably argue for this one to be red because it technically is a second entry, but I was looking at all this as like a double bottom, first entry, second entry. And yeah, you can see that. Plus, we just got to overshoot, perhaps. Yeah, either way you draw this, I think you have to look at this as an overshoot. Because here, the midline up here doesn't look like it fits it very well, but when you move it up to this close, it works pretty well. And really, I think I had it drawn off that stem right there, and you can see the midline acting as support right there. So, I mean, this one I'd be a little hesitant, but when you get this one, good signal bar, room to the lows, I like it. And we don't even, I thought we would make it to the overnight lows, but we don't. You get a break. And then you get this lower high, and you could be expecting a new low for this channel. So you might consider that because there's a few ticks back to the EMA too. That's a very bearish bar, 83.25. So 4 ticks back to the EMA, not ideal, but eventually we do make our 2 legs down to a new low, and then it reverses, and you get a great setup. You know, this is sure the bias is down, but we just bounced off the overnight lows after a break of this channel and 2 legs down to a new low, and prices have been flip-flopping on both sides of the EMA all day. So I'm looking at this as a leg up, and we're due for a new to test that high. You get a first entry, second entry, plenty of room back. Only thing you might be concerned about is that midline of the yellow range, but you can see people did take their profits there, but that's a great entry. Turns out that's a channel, and we get a break up here, convincing break over here, and a couple legs up, and you get a first entry, first entry, second entry short after the new high. It's aggressive because you're going into that opening price, but look how bearish that bar is. I like that. And then we make another leg up to a new high, and you get a first entry, failed second entry. I really like this one. Very bearish bar, but I had to put a blue box behind it. You only would have gotten your 4 ticks. I think it went 5 ticks, 91.75. So you got 6 ticks. So really, you would have gotten a 4 tick target and a 5 tick target. If you went for anything more, it would have failed. I marked it red, but I realized that you got 2 inside bars, and this is a doji. But I like that price rejection. It looked like price rejection, but you know, maybe because that was like the lowest we went since market open, maybe there was just a lot of buying coming in and a lot of sellers taking profit. I don't know. So anyway, it does make, because I was looking at this as like one leg, but if you're looking at it as one leg, then you would expect a second leg of correction. So maybe I was looking at this wrong. But anyway, we trend up, get a break, move to a new high. We make this double test up here. This one's tough, but it's congestive. So I don't know about that one. Maybe you take this one. Shoot, very bearish bar, double test. I like that. I didn't see that. Looks like there's 4 ticks back to the EMA too. 21.50. Yeah, plenty of room back to the EMA. Damn. So yeah, I like this one. I like this one for sure. What's this? So you get a first entry, second entry, lower high. I'm not. I don't think I should have marked that. Especially you're going into all that support right there. You're going into a potential double test. But yeah, I was playing this pink range. I just made it from these 2 legs of correction. That's what I drew it from, and you can see we got a bounce there, and it was influencing prices for sure. It could be a little lower, like this. And yeah, you can see that. If you drew it like that, then you get this perfect measure move. So, but I like to draw it once and keep it that way, and I can see a gap right now too. So a lot of people are probably playing it like this, because you see that gap right there. Um, this one's pretty tempting. Uh, First entry, but look at all that resistance at that midline. But yeah, that's tempting because we could just make a lower high and come back down. But especially because what this looks like to me is, we broke into this range with an upward bias. So when we break out to the low side, you're looking for a higher low. So that's actually, I like that one. Sets up perfectly and go up, test the highs. There's plenty of room back to the midline too. Test the highs, comes down. Um, but yeah, I don't see anything else I like in here. You get this move down, but there's nothing in there. Break, move to a new low. This move up, break, move to a new high. Reverses, this is just sideways, comes down. You get a double test right here. But there's only, I think, 3 or 4 ticks back to the EMA. But you might take that. That's a double test. We have a break of this and a new low or a matching low and a higher low right here. You might take that. So that's how I saw it today. I hope everyone had a great day. I might not be back Thursday and Friday. I got some stuff going on, but I might put up videos.